Hi everyone, some people just love making weird stuff. And they don't really care what others think, even if they laugh and point fingers. In today's video, we'll show you such people and the unusual constructions that they've made. Most likely their friends thought that these ideas seemed ridiculous, but just look how great they turned out to be. Let's get it on. Cowtown Key Loco. Can one person build a whole city? Well, apparently, yes, if you are Ed Key Loco. This small village located in the depths of Arizona looks almost like a ghost town. There's a church, a bank, and even a cemetery. But unlike other cities filled with the spirit of the Wild West, this one is still alive. Ed Key Loco started to build his own city back in the 60s, and he did everything alone. Without any special equipment, he only had an old pickup truck. But why did he decide to build the city in the first place? The reason was that Ed simply couldn't find his place in the world, and so he decided to just build his own. A backyard observatory. Jonathan Fay lives a double life. Perhaps you can even call him a superhero. During the day, he works as a software developer, but when the sun sets, he opens a window to heaven. Fay is an amateur astronomer who designed and built a real observatory in his backyard. He purchased a 12-inch telescope to observe nebulae and take pictures of galaxies. It's not as powerful as a Hubble telescope, of course, but still not bad. At first, Fay put his telescope on the veranda, but the lighting and vibration of the house constantly ruined the pictures. Also, the wife of the astronomer was not happy that his passion interrupts her household duties. And so, Fay decided to create his own observatory. The man built most of it by himself, although his friends and kids helped him too, but he didn't hire any professional builders. The most difficult thing to do was to build the dome. Most of the tools were simply not designed to make round things, but in the end, everything worked out. Fay can spend a lot of time at the observatory, looking at the stars every night. Sometimes he even forgets about space for a few weeks, but in the end, he always returns to his telescope. The Hobbit Village. In Pembrokeshire in Wales, you can find beautiful handmade houses. These tiny dwellings are made from local natural materials or even garbage, all in order to make the construction as environmentally friendly as possible. In addition, the inhabitants of this hobbit village grow most of the products they consume. For Simon and Jasmine Dale, this story began more than 10 years ago, and since then, the couple has inspired a lot of followers. They not only build houses that look like the ones where hobbits from the Lord of the Rings lived, but also plant trees and shrubs. They grow apples, pears and plums, olives, sea buckthorn, hazelnuts, many different berries, and even hops. All buildings are powered by solar panels to generate electricity for lighting and gadgets. They also have a small hydroelectric power station. So in general, this is a completely self-sufficient, small, ecologically friendly village. Looks like heaven on earth. Well, the only thing to fear is the Nazgul. House in the Fire Lookout. Many people build tree houses when they were kids, but how about a tree house without a tree? Dabney Tompkins and Alan Colley reinvented the idea of a home. They based their house on a fire lookout. The towers used to monitor large areas to quickly spot a forest fire. Now most of these towers have been replaced by satellites, but the towers have not gone away. At first, Tompkins and Colley rented a few of these buildings, and then bought land, and with the help of a local engineer, built their own tree house without a tree. All of this took them about a year and a half. And none of them were employed at the time. They simply quit their jobs and moved to the wilderness. At first, it seemed to them that this life would be very boring, but turned out they were very wrong. Friends loved the calm pace of life and now feel very happy. Their house only has one room, which combines the kitchen, the dining area, and the living room with 2 comfortable armchairs. In addition to the 2 beds, there is another one upstairs, and this bedroom offers a fantastic view. However, you can admire the beauties of nature from anywhere in this house, and it is very, very quiet here. The House of the Sun. Most houses have a rectangular shape, and we got used to that. They all have corners, but this house, not far from Yekaterinburg, looks like the dome of an observatory. Looking at this round house, one might think that people who live there must be unusual and creative, and they really are. In 2009, Alexander and Anna bought a huge plot of land 120 kilometers away from the city and built a house there. Alexander is an architect, and Anna is an artist and a designer, so they did everything themselves. They added a tower to the ordinary dome and decorated the entrance in the Russian style. That's how the house became unique, even among other domed buildings. Alexander and Anna call their home the House of the Sun, and it looks as unusual inside as it does from the outside. The dome is made out of boards and insulation, and is paneled on both sides with eco-friendly materials. The main load-bearing wall in the living room is made of mud brick, a material that consists of loam soil with a binding of straw. It was stirred without any machines too. The couple used only their feet. In the center of the living room there is a fireplace. When the electricity is turned off, Anna uses it to cook food. In the future, the family is going to build a small town on their land plot with 2 hotels and various entertainment facilities for children. A grain silo. Let's be honest, a grain silo doesn't look much like a home. Perhaps only kids could imagine living and playing there, but otherwise it's just a big metal jar. No one wants to live in a big metal jar, right? Except for one couple from Phoenix that not only moved into the grain silo, but also turned it into a really cozy tiny house. Shauna Tybalt and Christoph Kaiser spent 18 months turning a giant metal jar into the house of their dreams. There are no rooms in the traditional sense of the word, and space is scarce, but the newlyweds claim that all this has helped them to form a special bond, a bond that doesn't exist in large, spacious houses. Of course, it was not easy to design and furnish a house in a grain silo, mostly because of its cylindrical shape. Most of the furniture is designed to fit into a 90-degree angle, but this wouldn't work with a grain silo, so they had to work hard to create their unusual home, but all the effort was definitely worth it. On the first floor of the former grain silo, there is a kitchen with a dining area, a soft sofa, and a bathroom hidden behind a wardrobe door. A few steps from the kitchen and the bathroom, there's a spiral staircase leading up to the bedroom. An old school bus. When we look at an ordinary school bus, we don't usually think about comfort or that this place could ever become a real home. However, Charlie Kern really lives in an old school bus. More than that, he knows how to turn buses into perfect homes. In 2014, Charlie built his first house out of a school bus. At the time, it was a one-off project he did for himself, but then Kern thought that he could create such homes for other people as well. Today, anyone can order a house made from an old bus. Just call Charlie. Of course, they cost a lot of money, but your home will definitely be unique, even compared to the other houses on wheels. And yes, even with all the designer stuffing, cozy furniture, and home appliances inside, you can still drive Charlie's buses. Just imagine, you're standing at a bus stop and suddenly a cool home on wheels arrives to pick you up. Too cool for school. A wine cellar. If your neighbor suddenly started burying a 6-meter shipping container in his backyard, you'd probably think he's a bit of a weirdo, especially if he isn't just burying it, but also digging a huge hole, putting a container there, filling it with concrete. No, he's not preparing for the apocalypse, and the container is not a bunker to hide from aliens. This is a perfect place for a wine cellar that will last for several hundred years, or even more. In theory, in a place like that, you can store not just wine, but also some ancient artifacts. The structure will hold. An egg house. A floating house in the shape of an egg. You're probably wondering why someone would even build something like this. Well, why not? An artist, Stephen Turner, came up with the idea. The egg house was placed on the bank of the Bowloo River in the UK. The artist said that the project was inspired by the nesting seabirds, as well as some local bird species. Turner decided to live in the egg house for a full year to experience a close connection with the tides, wildlife, rain, and sun. As a truly creative person, he wanted to show how everything in this world was connected, from the smallest invertebrates to the largest mammals. He would also be able to see what happens to the shell of the egg in a year, and to creatively think it over. And don't ask how, only Turner knows. There is no electricity in the egg house, but there is a table, a hammock, a small kitchen, and a sink. There's also a portable toilet and an eco-friendly shower. The artist gets the electrical power from solar panels, which he uses to charge his phone, digital camera, and laptop. Psst, dude, are you looking for new technologies and great gadgets? Are your thoughts focused on the future? Do you love huge vehicles and can't imagine your life without robots around you? Then visit TechZone and you'll find all this and more. The link is in the description. You interested? Great.